Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew, and I'm with Maisa. And our clients today in banking and financial services already have in production our hallucination-resistant digital workers for such complex areas in banking, such as KYC, account onboarding, trade finance, loan origination, both consumer, retail, CIB, and so on. And then they deliver meaningful ROI, which is quite a rarity in today's world where, as we all know, 95% of the AI initiatives are stuck in pilots and POC phases. And that's according to Gartner and MIT, but you all know for yourselves. And we have a very different approach to AI adoption. We call it a practical AI adoption, which is underpinned by the two key pillars. A is that we solve the infamous hallucination problem. So our workers are hallucination resistant. They are deterministic as they run transactions. They are fully auditable, so they pass compliance checks. They have explainability in them. They don't make probabilistic decisions as they execute the production loads. And more importantly, they are reliable. They do the same thing on the same document and don't come up with wrong explanations. And two is that we use the process owners today, the people who are in business functions and operations, do the work to create the digital workers, to automate the work that they do. So it's a citizen development model which in scale provides the meaningful return on investment. And I'm going to show you how this is done. And we're going to do it in areas called trade finance, which is the part of the global transaction services. And for those who are not familiar with this, it's the area, it's 50% of the world trade is underpinned by the banks. And banks finance both importers and exporters, and then at some point, the millions of dollars need to be transferred for the transaction. So it involves very complex process that does the document inspection. There's a huge variability in these documents. They are unstructured, they're different languages, full of different formats. This is highly time sensitive because everybody wants to get right away. There's 1,000 transactions per day, and they have to follow regulations. And with Trump being our president, it's quite difficult. It changes every minute. So this cannot be done with traditional automation. So that's why today this process is heavy manual. Hundreds of people in a typical large bank spend hours per day on each transaction to do it. And we're going to create a digital worker that does that. So we're going to give him a name, is Eric. And the way we onboard this digital worker, our first digital worker, is to just give him the objective of what he needs to do. And this mimics the experience we're going to have in a real world, where when a new employee comes in and joins our organization, we're going to say, hey, Eric, welcome. Your job is to look at these documents, review them, perform the document checks. And with that, we click the onboard button that starts the process of onboarding. And the process, as it kicks off, as this objective we set, leads eventually to this, what we call a worker builder experience. So we design workers and then we run them, and the worker builder experience has two parts. On the left-hand side, we have a chat where Eric will be asking us the questions, what's not clear. So he already understood what we gave him as objective. He built some instructions that he is going to follow, but he has some additional clarifications. How do I perform this? Is there any specific checklist? How I integrate if I need to, and so on. And then so we follow this chat and we answer the questions until Eric is fully satisfied. And on the right-hand side, we have what we call a worker brain, which is essentially a view as to what Eric's going to do. And here we have instructions. You see they compiled in the workflow. Each step of the workflow has the steps, and we can review it. And if we're not happy with any of them, we can correct them. And so we can go back to chat, provide clarifications, and so on, until we see that Eric is fully ready. And we also have a section called know-how, where as we run more transactions, the business logic and institutional knowledge will be captured. There's integration in tools, so for us, easy to connect. But let's run it. Let's have the Eric to do it. Again, this is very similar to how you would mimic the real-world experience. You'll actually do something with the employee that just joined the business function. And we're going to have Eric to do the validation on something like this. So it's very complex documents. It's a picture of invoice with signatures. There's bill laid in. The information written sideways, different colors. Again, the stamps must be checked for certain colors. It takes a human hour to do this. You see why it's so complex. And we're going to upload these to Eric and tell him, hey, these are your documents that you need to do. Here is the Swift message that is a documentary credit you need to check against. And we have Eric to do the job. So we click Run. And as we do this, Eric begins his process of, essentially processing instructions and executing a transaction. And it's going to take some steps for it to run. But in a nutshell, I'm going to just show you the end results. And you will see that Eric went in and did 28 steps, build the workflow of how this needs to be done in something what we call a chain of work, which is a very deterministic, explainable, and auditable explanation of everything that was done. And you can see these are the explanations in natural language. You can see that Eric identified the documents, find information in it, and so on, and so on, and so on. And this is underpinned underneath with the code. So what you see is that is a visualization in natural language of the code that ran. So that's why it's hallucination-resistant, not probabilistic. And here's the end result. In fact, Eric was able to do the reconciliation, and we can download the documents. And it's here, and then we can look at what's in it, and it's a report document, and just have a sneak peek on it. So it compiled these pages and pages of validation, where first it has a summary, summarized for us what it needs to do, and then it determined was success, and then went through every document, extracted all the information. Now this can be pushed to a system of records. And then most importantly, it did the actual document check-in. So it compared all the information that it found. And as you can see, it's not easy to do. Not everything is a straight match. 6 cases here don't equal 6 cases here. And something was missing. But it was able to contextualize it that though it was missing, documentary credit didn't require it. So without us giving these specific instructions and write these thousands of rules, it was able to solve that case and eventually come back with the resolution and suggestion for the payment. And this is how you do it. So if you have any additional instructions based on the results, you can go back and provide it to work. But once you're ready, you just deploy it. And once you deploy it, it becomes available for your colleagues to use. So now you can work with Eric as a digital employee. And there is obviously a control tower. There is governance and controls, who can, who cannot. There is limitations on use. And all of that is enterprise gRCC. And these are examples of some of the workers that we have today in production. As you can see, anything from trade finance to loan origination, source of wealth, KYC. These are the prepackaged solutions that you can deploy today to automate these processes.